afternoon. My name is James Crilly, and I will be host for the Course 3 Manage User Access. Today's agenda, we're going to discuss the new onboarding process. We're going to review the Manage User Access page. We're going to talk about the new Frontline login URL, the mobile app, post-launch troubleshooting, and then we'll answer any questions that you may have. Now, let's talk about that new onboarding process, creating new users and all products. Now, I need you to understand this is for brand new people that you create after we go live, because everybody who exists today, pre-existing users, will go to the application itself, enter in their old credentials, and they'll upgrade to the Frontline ID. But what we're discussing right now are those individuals that we create after we upgrade to the new platform. So step one, we're going to create the user record. Okay, very similar to what we've done before. You create the user record in all applications, all products. We want to make sure that the last name and the email address matches. This is most important because, again, like we're cleaning up the data, any new users, again, it's going to be the last name and email address that matches them together in the different applications. For absence management only, we're getting out the new Frontline ID welcome letter, and we'll look at that a little later. Now, for those of you who have nightly external imports, they're going to continue to work. So if you have WinCap or if you have some type of HR payroll system pushing data into, My Learning Plan or into absence management ASAP, that's still going to continue to work, okay? Here's the thing, though. You're correcting the data and you're changing that information in the applications themselves, make sure that the information is also correct in the WinCap or your HR payroll system. Because what's going to happen is you're going to make the changes in the application, and then tonight it's going to run through and it's going to revert those changes back to what it was originally. So you're back to square one. So suggestion, when you're hiring new people, okay, it's board approved, the user gets board approved, and then push onto your IT department. Your IT department will create the district email address. Again, this is for district users. They'll create the IT will create your district users, and then the IT department then pushes that out to all of the system admins. So that could be a Rick, that could be a BOCES, or that could be Sally in district, because Sally controls My Learning Plan. So that's really the step-by-step process. Board of IT department gets it, creates the district email address, and then IT disseminates that information out to all the system admins. Now, step two, for these brand new users created after we've upgraded, you're going to have to send the invitation. So we're going to look at the Manage User Access page in a few moments, and we're going to actually send an account invitation out to them. Now, again, if all the records are matched properly, last name, email address, the single invitation. I'm going to skip SSO, single sign-on, for the district's perspective, like Google, using your Google ID, using your Microsoft ID or Active Directory ID. Again, we're postponing those. If you want to use those in the future, then in January or after, what you would do is you would reach out to any of our support team, and then you would just say, you know what, we would like to use our district SSO WIP form, and then we can start that process for you. So the very first thing is discussing the new onboarding process. Remember, we said you're going to get a new Frontline ID welcome letter. Now, again, this is only for absence management, but it's a new letter. It's a new layout because we've got different bits of information. So we've highlighted it. Again, you'd search for it and you'd find the Insights letter. Interacting with the phone, interactive web, and mobile access. So these are the three distinct portions of that letter. Now, like all of our other welcome letters, you have the ability to go in there and change it as needed. So you change it as needed. But we tell them the most important things. For employees and subs, we give them their phone contact. Remember, your employees and subs will still continue to use the phone. That's still an option in absence management. Again, no other application within Frontline give users the ability to use the phone except absence management. So they need that phone number, so the 10-digit phone number, the 4 or 5-digit PIN, again, you'll create that. and then interacting with the website. Now, this is instructing them that they will receive an invitation, okay, going forward, and once they do, they'll create their Frontline ID. So that's really the verbiage there. And then the mobile access, and instructs them that after you've created your Frontline ID, you can download the mobile app. It's free, and actually access information. We'll do the mobile app a little bit later. So onboarding process, continuing this. So this is the Manage User Access. We'll see this more in detail, but basically you'll find the employee. On the Actions button, you'll click it, and you will send the account invitation. Now, that invitation will go to whatever email address is on record for that individual, and then at that point, they will create their Frontline status. When they create their Frontline ID, you'll be able to see it because it will be marked as has account. Talk about that Manage User Access page a little bit. Again, this is a brand new page that only you as a system admin will have access to. So if I'm just a normal employee or a normal principal, I won't have access to this. The only people that would have access to this would be people with system admin rights in each of the applications. Now, how do you navigate to it? Because it's a brand new web page. So if I'm in absence in time, security, and I'm going to go Manage User Access. Professional growth. Now remember, we discussed this in Course 1. Personal growth, like My Learning Plan, Oasis, is going through a facelift, okay? The options will no longer be in the upper right-hand corner. They'll be on the left-hand side. So inside navigation bar, again, once you're upgraded, you're going to go to Administration, Manage User Access. For recruiting and hiring, it's Users, Manage User Access. And for ed and interventions, basically, that is IEP Direct, 504, RTI, Medicaid, and so forth. They all 5 of those programs fall under the umbrella of special education and interventions. Basically, you're going to go to maintenance, and you're going to go to Manage User Access. Rather than go through our slide deck, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to log in to the system. So here I am. This is the Frontline ID. So basically this would be me. I've already created my Frontline ID. Now I'm going to that new URL, the app.frontlineeducation.com URL, which will allow me then to get into any application I want. So I just go in here, and again, I'm just going to username and password. I'm going to sign in. Now, sign in. 90% of your users will not see a select an organization. Basically, this means I work in multiple school districts. This is more applicable to those agencies or contractors for IEP because maybe I contract with 5 different districts. Okay, so what will happen is I will be able to create a Frontline ID and then merge all of the districts under one. So as a contractor, P or an agency, I would be able to select the specific district I'm going to work in. Now, again, 90% of our people won't have this because I only work in District A, and that's the only district I work in. So if you have 2 or more organizations or districts you work in, you'll get this option. If you don't, you'll automatically go to the next page. So I'm just going to say Frontline Client Services, select an application. This is where 90% of your people will fall. I'll create my, or I'll log in, I'll go directly here. Again, if I have 2 or more applications that have an active record in, I'll get this pick list. If I only have 1 application, I'll just go directly there. So here is my list. I have all the list of all of my applications that I have an active record for. So if Frontline Central, which is our newest product, let's say I'm deactivated in an account, well then this selection will disappear. Again, I will only see the applications that I have an active record in. So let's go to absence management, shall we? Look at this real quick, and then we'll actually dive into the Manage User Access page. I'm fully logged in now. In the upper left-hand corner, okay, these are our switchers. Our switchers across the top banner. At this point, I click on Absence Management because it's the one I first entered in. And guess what? Here is what we call the App Switcher. So if I want to switch over to a different application, I definitely can do that. So again, at the left side, this is your App Switcher. Now, for about 10% of us, this is our organization switcher. Again, this is more applicable for our IEP agencies who actually work organizations or multiple districts. They'll be able to select the different applications. Again, this is an add-on bonus to those individuals as opposed to memorizing or having specific login credentials for each of the specific districts work in. Basically one frontline ID to rule them all. They can switch here. Again, if I only belong to one, it's really not active. It's just a standalone label, if you will. Far right, and again, this is only applicable to absence management because absence management, as we discussed in course 2, has 4 distinct roles. Okay, all other applications, you're just a user, and I just assign different permissions to you. However, for absence management, we have 4 distinct roles: organization user, campus user, employee, and substitute. So in here, I can switch to my different roles if I need to. So I'm an organization user. I can switch to an employee role. And those in parentheses, as you see it, that's basically the title field for the no absence management. If you populate anything in the title field in those records, that's what appears. So this way, I can be a campus user with district-wide visibility, or I can be a campus user with only the transportation because maybe I'm the transportation manager, business manager, so I only need that information. The last thing I want to show, okay, under my name, if I click on my name, is the account settings. Okay, I click on account settings. I now can control my account settings. This is for me, so the first name, last name. Now, this basic information does not impact any of our underlying applications. So if I change my last name to whatever, it doesn't affect apps, it doesn't affect IEP, it doesn't affect hiring, it doesn't affect anything. This basically is my frontline ID, which again is my personal property as we talked about in course number 1. So this is where I can reset my email. So if I originally put your school district and then I move to a different school district, I can go in there because, again, if I need a reset password, it's going to go to your school district, but you've already shut down my email address. So what I could theoretically do is go in here and change that email address. Again, I have to know my login to do that first, but I can go in there. Now, if you have a person who transferred to a different district, their email address has been discontinued and they don't know how to log in, contact any of our support teams and they'll be able to assist. The only thing we need would be either the email address of that user or the user's name that they're using. So that's the basic information. Frontline ID is the actual username. I can change it if I need to, and if I need to, I can merge multiple frontline IDs. Okay? For example, I inadvertently create a frontline ID for absence and management. I create a frontline ID for my learning plan. So 2 separate. So what I can do is log into the account I want to keep. I log into the one I want to keep, and then I go merge them, and I type in the account that I want to merge into the one that I want to keep. And then at that point, that's how I can self-correct, end user, self-correct having multiple frontline IDs. Now, can you do that on their behalf? Absolutely. We'll see that a little bit later. But this is a way for the not subs, it could be a sub, but this is a way for the end users themselves to self-correct themselves. So again, that's the frontline ID, merging different frontline ID accounts if you have multiple ones, and changing my email address. There's the biggest 3 that an user would do. Again, that's under account settings. I can go back, and again, I found account settings by clicking my name and account settings. Now, with that quick little overview of the layout, the banner layout, let's go into the Manage User Access page. So again, security, I'm going to go security and Manage User Access. And this is accessible only by system admins, okay? So if you're system admin, you won't get this page. So let's look at the Manage User Access to learn more. Again, you can click on it to expand or getting started. We just, again, tell you the steps. You're going to create the user and all the applications. You're going to make sure that they're active in actions. Then you're going to send the account invitation out. Okay, we'll look at that, and then the user's going to create their account. That's really the four-step process. So now, with the four-step process, we have what we call the account status. Now, we're telling you at each stage of the process where is it at. So no account means that user has yet to create a Frontline ID. Pending means I've sent out an invitation to them. They have yet to respond. And has account means they took that email and they created their Frontline ID. So those are the three statuses in the system itself: no account, pending, and has account. I'm going to close that, but again, if you want to look at that more, you can just click on expanding that. Auto invite, this is a feature. By default, it's turned off, but really what it says is as you add a new user, do you want the system to automatically send an invitation to them so that they can create their Frontline ID? Now, some of you like that option. Some districts say, well, you know what, we first want to train our user how to use the system, and then we'll send it to them. So that is completely up to you. But again, if you have this turned on and enabled, if you will, then once you've created it, the account, it'll wait a little bit, and then it will send out an invitation. The download the CSV file and the download merge preview, basically that is your Excel spreadsheet. Sheets that I'm sending or we send out to you, that is basically download merge preview. What it does, it simulates all this data and says, listen, we're going to try to merge this, and then what are the exceptions? What are the areas that you need to correct? Now, the one thing I do want to talk to you about is bulk merge user. Basically what that does is at any point I can click bulk merge users, and if I need any corrections in any of the applications for user data, and now it can be merged by clicking bulk merge users, it will merge those account immediately. Okay. Now, the bulk merge also occurs on a nightly basis. So if you change data, let's say you create me. So you put Crilly as my last name, but in one account it's one L, and another account it's two L's. So the system wouldn't merge me initially because it's like, hey, these are two different people. And you're like, oh my gosh. So then you fix it. Okay. Now, at that point, what do you do? You have you can wait, and the system will automatically bulk merge my accounts at 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every morning. So 2 a.m., the system will go through, has there been any changes to any application records? If so, let's see if we can merge some records together so that in the morning, if I try to log in, everything will be corrected. And that's, if you can wait till tomorrow morning, you let the automatic merge process occur at 2 a.m. in the morning. Now, if you're like, oh my gosh, I need it like immediately, I immediately need it, then you just go up here and you bulk merge. You just click on it, and it says, hey, we're going to merge all these accounts, all the records in these accounts. Do you want to merge them? Boop, bulk merge. And at that point, the system will take all 790 accounts, both active and inactive, and if they find a match, they'll merge them together. So again, that is how you manually merge the accounts. That bulk merge users is for all users, not specific ones. Let's get down into the actual report itself. It's very similar to an Excel spreadsheet. An Excel spreadsheet, if you're thinking columns and rows here in an Excel spreadsheet, well, column A is the name of the user. Column B is the account status. And then column C to whatever is the list of all applications that your school district has. So, some might be smaller, some might be bigger. I mean, if you don't have absence management, then you won't see the column. You will see the columns that you really have an account for. If you're seeing an account, let's say you churned, we call it churned, but let's say you purchased an application and then you're like, okay, at this point we no longer have it, then just let me know and we'll take it off this list for you. It'll be a little bit of development work, but we'll definitely take it off. So this is the spreadsheet itself, and it kind of looks like the data files that we're sending out, except you don't have granted, you have yeses and nos and so forth. Like any spreadsheet, you can filter it. So you look at these filters up top, you can filter it by saying, listen, of the 790 people, how many have a Frontline account? Well, if I do that, 290 5 users out of 790 total users have a Frontline account. Then you say, okay, well, those Frontline account, how many have I sent invitations to? Now, if I click on that, I get 4 users. So right now I got 4 outstanding invitations haven't been sent out. And again, I can just go through all these filters. How about no account? Again, that's really, I haven't created an account yet, and no email address. Now, no email address. This always comes up. I probably get asked this question 10 times a day, if not more. What do I do about people used without an email? The question is, did they exist before the upgrade or after? If the user exists before the upgrade, meaning they pre-existed, I necessarily need an email address. Okay, and that really is applicable to your subs and to external users like IP contractors or agencies. Okay, really don't need the email address because those who pre-existed already have an account, and they just use their old account to springboard to the new account. Now, if I'm a district employee, do I want the email address? Yes, because that district email address is what helps me match users across the different applications. So really, district people, I want email address, regardless of if you were created before or after the upgrade. However, for substitutes and external users created before the upgrade, we don't necessarily need the email address. The only reason we would is if an existing sub or an existing IEP contractor, they're having problems upgrading. Oh, I forgot my username and password. Well, then you can send an invitation out to them. But realistically, for subs and those external contractors created before the upgrade, we don't need their email address. Now, after the upgrade, we need email addresses for everyone, because after the upgrade, and for new users only, we're going to be sending out invitations. And I say new users because, again, existing users, we're going to be sending invitations out. We're not going to be doing that. We're going to let the existing users use their old credentials to upgrade. However, any brand new created users, after the upgrade, we're going to have to send those invitations out. And we'll see that a little bit later. It just shows you how many people have no. The red envelope just says they don't have an email address. Now, application status. Now, we break the filters down by the application. So, again, I got 790 users. How many of those are active people in absence management? Granted is active. Not granted is inactive or no account. So, of the 790, I got 350 users that have an active account in absence management. Again, I can continue to click on this. Now, if I click another object, so absence management, I'm saying how many users have an active account in absence management and professional growth. Filters or and conditions, not or. Now, this or that, if you do that, you have to do separate. But if you want to do conditions where they one condition on top of the other, you can definitely do that here. Again, I'm just clear out the settings. Now, again, because I have absence management, ASOP, role switcher. If I don't have absence management, I don't have this third category because it's not applicable. If I see all my campus users, employees, organizations, users, or subs, I can. So at this point, I just click on the subs, and now I'm seeing all my substitutes. I got 35 total subs. Now, they could be active, they couldn't. Again, if I want them all active, again, I just say, hey, you know what, substitutes that have a granted record in absence management, that's how we would read the filter. So out of the 35 subs, one of them's inactive because the other ones have active records. Again, those are the filters that we have. You also have a search bar, and we'll look at that a little bit later. So now let's dive into the information that we have on the Manager Access page. What I like to do first is, because there's so much data, this is a test district, so you're not going to have blanks. This is a test. But I can type in here, I'm going to go Amy Ames. Let's start with Amy Ames, because this is when you create a user. I will say this. All of your existing users prior to upgrading to the Frontline ID will be in the same status. Now, status number 1, Amy Ames, no account. So we notice that she is active, or granted is the terminology we use, in all the other applications. Again, she hasn't created her Frontline ID. One note, in absence management only, If you hover over granted, the system will say, hey, of absence management, these are the individual roles that person has. So Amy Ames has an organization user role. She has 2 employee roles. All of them are granted. Now, it doesn't tell me what employee role it is. It doesn't show the title. It just tells me that there are roles. So if I really want to know about Amy Ames, I would have to go into absence management to look. One thing I do want to say, and I forgot to say this, is the data I see here in the Manage User Access page is the data if I would to IEP or if I'm recruiting and hiring. Manage User Access page is the same data, the same individuals, again, in any of the applications. That way, it's powerful because that way, if I'm working in absence management and I got to adjust somebody's user status for professional growth, well, today I go into professional growth. But I have system admin. For me, in my example, I have system admin right across all the board. I can definitely make that adjustment, and we'll see that in a few seconds. So actions. Button here. The actions here are all dependent on my status over here. So the status, just so we know, the status drives the options under the actions. So I can send the account invitation. I can edit user's access and the quick view details. Then we'll go over all of them. So if I want to send, if Amy Ames is brand new, I can send her the account invitation. I just click on it. Okay, it's Amy Ames. It's going to this email address. And this email address, work that off of her accounts that is in either absence management, my learning plan, IEP Direct. And all I need to do, I'm not going to do it, but I would just click send an invitation, and Amy Ames would get an invitation sent to this email address. That is how I would send it out to a brand new user created after the go live. I would also do this for Amy Ames if she was pre-existing but having problems upgrading. I would do that. Let's edit user's access. This is where it's powerful. Note I'm in absence management. Okay, and I am looking at the access for Amy Ames across all applications, not just absence management, every one. Okay, so let's talk about this little white panel right here. This is Amy Ames. So we tell you the name that we pulled from any one of these accounts to the far right, and we tell you the district that we're in. Again, Frontline Success. It's the same one up here. Now, the email address. This email address we are getting from the underlying applications. Okay, this has nothing to do with the Frontline ID. And when the user creates, if Amy Ames creates her Frontline ID and she enters in an email, that email address could be a personal email address, could be whatever. It does not change this email address. This email address basically we own, the district owns. We put it in the system, we own it. We can change it ourselves. Same thing for the external ID. Again, the emails and the external IDs are pulled from one of these application records over here. So again, that white box is just telling us this is the information that we, the district, own. Now, from information, we have all of the account information. So we're saying these are all the records that basically make up Ames in the system. Of absence management, we have the organization employee and 2 employee roles. Now remember, on that last page we were at, we just hovered over granted and it appeared. This information appeared. Now we're actually in the user access. From professional growth, recruiting and hiring, and time. Now, if I want to, I can go to any of these accounts because I am a system admin and I can access. So, for example, let's just say Ames is no longer part of our hiring crew of the recruiting and hiring. So I can deactivate her account. Now, again, I'm in absence management here. I'm recruiting and hiring because I, system admin, activated her. So no longer, when Amy Ames logs in, she'll no longer see recruiting and hiring as an option because I've just activated her. Again, this is the power because I'm still in absence management. I'm in absence management, but I've just impacted the Amy Ames record in recruiting and hiring. Again, I can do that because I'm also a system admin in recruiting and hiring. However, I'm just going to reactivate that. I'm not system admin in professional growth like My Learning Plan, Oasis. I'm not system admin. Now look here, I've got professional growth. It's active. Oh, wait a minute. I cannot modify the access of a user system admin for the account. This prevents people from going in there and deactivating accounts what they shouldn't deactivate it. Because again, professional growth, while I can see it, visually I can see it, I do not have the authority to make changes in professional growth. So I can activate or deactivate the account. So I can do anybody else. Notice I have the ability to, but I can't. That slider for me, that access slider, is not active. So that is the Manage User Access page. It is the same for every user. So we're not going to go into every one. But one thing that is a little different, depending on status, we'll have like hey, send the account invitation here, or you could go send the account invitation here, or from the actual user search grid, if you will, I can the account invitation. So depending on what page I'm at, I can do multiple options, the same options. And again, we just kind of tell you here in orange, listen, Amy Ames, she's active, she's ready to go, but she can't log in right now because you have yet to send that invitation out to her. Now again, if this is an Amy Ames who existed before we upgraded, Amy could use her old credentials for any one of these accounts, create line ID, and then the remainder get blended together. Back, you click on this little breadcrumb, as we call it, to manage user access. That will then get you back to the grid right here. So we looked at send. We looked at edit the user's access. Again, it's only the access. I just want to tell people here, you cannot create people on this page, okay? So, for example, if Amy Ames needs to have an IEP account created, I cannot, from the Manage User Access page, I cannot create accounts. Now, if they exist, I can impact existing accounts access if I system admin rights. But if I need to create Amy Ames in IEP Direct, I go here. And I IEP Direct to create. So to create records, you've got to go directly into that application to create those records. Once they're created, however, you can manipulate the active status on or off their access page. So that is the difference. Create, go to the specific organization, adjust their active status. You can do that right from the Manage User Access under Edit User Access. The last one is the quick view details. Now, this really is showing me all of the different records that blended together to form this one row of information. What's helpful? Because sometimes in our data cleanup, some things fall through the cracks. Some of the things are substitutes in absence management. For example, I've got a husband-wife subs or a parent-child situation. Now, this, Jack and Jill Smith, their last name match. They just happen to be using the same email address as well. Well, we didn't catch it. Okay, data file, we didn't catch it. So now you got Jack Smith, Jill Smith, they got two Smiths, and email address. So the system says, listen, the combination of last name and email address matches, so we're blending them together. The first name, blending or merging condition, we look to the first name. So you could have James, you could have Jim, you could have Jamie. For me, you could use any of those names in my first name. It doesn't really matter for matching purposes. What really matters, Crilly and my email address. And the same thing for Jack and Jill Smith. Okay, they're substitutes. Now, you really wouldn't have this problem as a district employee. Why? Because you're assigned specific, unique email addresses, or you should be. So this really happens more for subs. So if you have Jill, let's say Jill's logging in, and she's like, well, wait a minute, this is weird. I'm seeing Jack's information as well as my own. Then what you would do is you would go under the quick view details and look, oh my gosh, there's Jack. At this point, you're still on, you see Jack. Well, what do? We need to unmerge, okay? So basically, you would just contact support and support team, tell them the name, okay? Let's pretend this is Jill Smith, okay? And say, we have to unmerge this because I need to get Jack out of there. So basically, we will unmerge. So now instead of one row, it'll go down to 2, 4, 6 rows of information. And then at that point, you would just click on revoke Jack's access. And then you would, at that point, I would probably change his email address. Because remember, at a.m. in the morning, if Jack doesn't create a username unique, this is say, wait a minute, Smith, same address? Well, it must be the same thing. And then you're back in the same spot again where Jack's information has been blended into Jill's information. So that's really with the quick view details, that's really what you're looking for. If you're like, man, some of the information is just a little wonky, it looks a little weird, I would just go into actions, the quick view, and make sure everything is up, the names, really the last names, and really the email addresses and so forth. So that is actions, quick view details. Again, it's the same for everybody else regardless of their status. So that is the status of account status, no account. I haven't created my frontline ID. So let's clear out of that, and let's go to the second status, which is pending. And look at this. So let's look at Billy Bean. Just type in Billy so his information is here. So let's look at this. I sent out an invitation to Bean. When I do that, the system will tell me, put me in a pending status. Now, if I hover over that, it's giving me some information. It's going to tell me where that account invitation was sent to, and time and date it was sent. Because when you send an account invitation out to the user, it's good for 30 days. Okay? They have 30 days to react to that email. At the first day, that will expire. It's like fruit. It only lasts. It's only good for so long. So at the 31st day, that invite will expire. When it expires, you revert from pending back to no account. Okay, this one will do that for you. Because that way, if Billy calls you up and says, you know what, something's happened, I don't know about my email invite, you can go here and you can say, well, you know, it went to this email address, look for it on this date at this specific time. Okay, but if Billy Bean calls you and says, oh, something's up with my email invite, and the status says no account, you're like, Billy, you did too long. Okay, I'm going to have to just so you're aware of that. Again, the pending is I've sent it out, they have yet to respond to it, and it tells you exactly the email address and date and time that it was sent. Again, all the other information stays the same. Now, no user record, basically what that's saying is I have yet to create a record in absence management. So, again, like a spreadsheet, it just tells you the status for every interaction, if you will. Now, the only other one you don't see is not granted. That's an inactive state. Granted is terminology for active. Not granted is the terminology for inactive account. Now, if I go to the actions, again, actions are determined by status. So depending, I have the edit user's access. Again, exact same as we saw before. We won't look at that. Send a new account invitation. The verb here is different. Instead of send, it's new. Basically, that's to trigger you to say, wait a minute, if I do this, the original email that I sent will immediately be expired. So for security purposes, only one email invitation is ever active at a time. So this is active. This one's active. When I send a new account invitation, it will immediately expire this email. The only one that they can use would be the new one. Now, this is crazy because Billy, I didn't see it. Did you check it? Oh, I didn't see it. I don't see it there. Anyway, no, this is the date time. No, I don't see it. Okay, well, Billy, I'm going to send it out again. So now you're going to click on, boop, you're going to send it out. But you send out the new one, Billy realizes, oh my gosh, he found this one November 15th. at 9:23 a.m. So you've just sent out the new account. Billy now clicks on this old invitation. He's going to get an error message. Now, Billy's going to contact you. Well, something's wrong because I have your invitation. I click on your invitation, and it's erroring out. And you'll say, well, what, Billy, you're clicking on the old one. So click on the new one. And at this point, you would hover over pending, and this would give you the exact new date and time. So you would say, Billy, click on that. Revoke access to organization. Now, this is a new option. Revoke access means this. I want to sever the relationship between this user and our frontline accounts. Okay? So revoke means this. If I revoke the access to this organization and status is pending, basically what it means is that the email will no longer work. Okay, let's just say you send it out and he says, oh, I'm leaving the district, I'm going someplace else. Well, what you would do is you would revoke the access. Now, if Billy, after you revoke the access, Billy finds this email, he clicks it, it will error out. So just so you know that the revoke is basically severing the relationship between this user and all of the applications there. And then, again, quick view tells. So let's look at our last status. See? That is account. That's our one that we want. So no account, pending, it has account. So let's just, let's look at Mitch. So we have a bit of information here. So, okay, I have an account. Now, once the user creates their new frontline ID, you hover over Has Account, and it will tell you the exact username and that's created. Now remember, the frontline ID, like we said in Course 1, is the personal property of that end user. The district doesn't own it. So the district can say, listen, use your email address, but you can mandate that. You only suggest it. So in this case, let's say Mitch went rogue, if you will, and he used Mitch Demo 89. So if Mitch were having problems logging into the system, okay, he could contact you, and he says, for some reason, I just can't remember my username. Well, you find Mitch's name in the Manage User Access. You hover over, okay, it's Mitch Demo 89. Oh, that's great. So now you can tell him exactly you and email address for Mitch. All the information kind of just stays the same, the granted and so forth. But if we look at the action, you can edit the user's access. You can always do that. Reset the user's password, okay? So I'm not going to click on this, but I want to tell you, if you click on Reset the user's password, it will immediately send an email. There's no, are you really sure? There's no confirmation. So if you click on this, it will send the password reset email. Now, here's the saving grace. His password still works. Mitch's password still works. So if he receives that email, it's like it never happened. Okay. So when you send the email, it's just saying if you want to reset your password, click the button. If Mitch gets it and you're like, ooh, I shouldn't have sent out. I did it by accident. You can contact Mitch saying, Mitch, forget about it. I just hit it by accident. All you need to do is delete it or just put it into a different folder, and nothing happens. Now, if he clicks on the reset, then his current password, will be immediately expired, and he'll have to reset it. So again, if you click on that, that's perfectly fine, but it goes out immediately. Also, just so you know, again, on the web page, when I log in, I can do this myself. I can say, I forgot my password, I forgot my username, and you go through the whole core of everything. But again, that is after you've updated to your frontline ID. To this organization, revoke, again, you're severing the relationship between Mitch and all of these accounts. Now, why we revoke? Someone retires. Okay. Revoke, I always say this. Well, is it permanent or is it temporary? It's permanent. They revoke. They're never coming back. They moved cross country. They're coming back. So If temporarily, maybe they went on a sabbatical or a maternity leave, something like that, I wouldn't revoke, but I may edit the user's access and basically just make them active for the time being, and then I would reactivate their accounts. Because again, are they actually coming back? Yes or no, permanent or temporary, depends on what I want to do. Again, revoking is a permanent sever. Now you click on this by accident, and it says, "Are you sure?" And you click on that, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, it was the wrong person. It wasn't supposed to be Mitch." Now what do? Well, he's back to no account. You just go Actions, send the account invitation. Mitch gets it. He'll use his existing one, his Mitch Demo 89, and he'll reestablish that connection between the Frontline ID and the user. Now that is basically an overview of the three statuses for the Manage User Access page. Now, another situation comes on merging users. What happens if I have two users and for whatever reason the system is not merging? Maybe the last name's off, or like this case, I got Stan Merge and Stan Merge the second, okay? Maybe the last name's off, or maybe the emails are off. But these individuals right here need to be merged together. What do? You can manually merge them, okay? And it could be they either have an account or do have an account. Either. So again, I want to prep them by merging them together so they can create one account, or inadvertently I got an account 1 and account 2 here. But it's the same process. So I'll click on them. I'll select those two. I will now go to bulk merge, and I'll now go and merge two users. Now, if you have two users, that option will be there. If you only have one, you've selected one or none or more than two, this option will be grayed out. So it's a smart option here. You only have to have two and be able to compare. So let's click on this. You select Stan, two Stans. Okay, that's good. Continue. Now, there gets into the information. What information do you want to have for this account? Yeah, Stan Merge the second. I got a personal email, I got a work email. Okay, what is the information? Well, let's say I want to make it the work email. So all I need to do, I want the work email here, is I click on this account to be information. More information is there. All I need to do, and I'm not going to do it because I want to keep it for demo purposes, but all I need to do is click Merge. The same thing could be for username. Let's say I have a Frontline ID here and a Frontline ID here, but they're different. Say this is the Frontline ID I want to keep right over here. I just click on the side, then it says, hey, J. Crilly here or J. Crilly 2. I want the J. Crilly 1, so I just click here and merge the account. So again, it could be for merging Frontline IDs together or merging two records together prior to them creating their Frontline ID. I'm just going to click back to get out. Now, one other thing to do is when we're looking at this merge, again, you can have duplicate records, okay, in MyLAN, IEP Direct, and so forth. So, for example, if I had two professional growth accounts, regardless if they're active or inactive, doesn't matter, cannot merge them. So we'll do is contact support, and we'll help you there. A lot of times you're like, okay, I need to merge these people. Bulk merge, I hit this, and I get this red error message. People can be merged. Okay, just cannot be merged. At that point, it means that you're duplicated somewhere. Again, absence management, you can have as many duplicate records as your heart desires. But all the other frontline can only have one instance. So you want to be careful there. So again, if I get a red error message, users cannot be merged together, contact our support team, and we'll help you find the duplicate record and remove it. And after it's removed, then be able to merge those accounts together. This is how you actually merge two accounts together. Again, this process, what we're doing right here, this merge, is the exact same process that I did under account settings when I said merge them under my Frontline ID. Last one to do is let's log out. I'm going to log out, and I'm going to show you this is the account in so app.frontline. Now, when here, how can I self-correct? Once I have that frontline ID, forgot user pass name, forgot password. So I got the name, so I forgot that. Click on that. It's like anything else. You just type in your username, and it search for it. It'll say email address. You forgot password, your username. When you click continue, it'll send it to the password reset. So again, your end users can self-correct. They can self-serve themselves. But again, if they're having some issues, remember on the Manage User Access page, you can actually do it for them. That's really the presentation that we got. So at this point, let me go through and let's look at the information that we have, any questions that we have. Okay, so I'm looking at Amy. I'm confused on if the RIC, the Northeast RIC, or am I in charge of registering for a go live date? My district, okay, pays for the product, but is the RIC serving? So that's a great question. It's either or. Some of the RICs definitely say, listen, you're going to have to go live by December 10th, and I think for the Northeast RIC, it might be December 10th, where everybody has to go live. Now, the thing is, if I want to go live a little sooner, I can definitely do that by signing up. So that is completely up to you. I would just discuss that with the RIC. In regards to Red Hook, okay, I can send you that. I can send you the notification letter. Gina, why are you pushing the Insights platform without SO enabled? This is frustrating because, unfortunately, it's just a time thing. It's an executive decision to push it through. Again, if you go and you make sure that your emails match your Google ID or directory at that point, then we'll do it. It'll be a smooth transition. Because what's going to happen is this. The district SSO will keep the frontline ID. So I'll be logging in with my frontline ID, and basically I would tell them this. Listen, use your Google ID. Use your Google ID as your frontline ID temporarily until we merge, or your Azure ID or whatever Microsoft ID at that point. And then what happens is when we make the connection with your district SSO, they'll log in via the district SSO, and at that point, once the connection is made, okay, it'll go from has account to organization SSO, and it trumps it. So at that point, my frontline ID is revoked. So no longer can use my frontline ID. Then go forward. The only way I can do that is using the SSO. How do I get my district's Excel file? We're sending those out. Ted, we're sending out the file as you sign up for the course too. We're kind of a little bit behind just because there's so many people signing up, but we're trying to get those files out to you. Can the system admins create a frontline ID prior to the go live? No, they cannot. Tracy, that's a good question, but unfortunately, it's like turning the light switch on in a room. Everybody in the room gets to see the light at the same time. So that's a good question. For the IEP product, is the system admin just the person who is calling into the program or anyone with CO supervisor level? It would be the CO supervisor level. That really is the system admin. My question is going towards, will only the system admin be able to generate accounts, or will any of my colleagues with CO supervisor access be able to onboard as well? If you have the supervisor ability, okay, you're able to create accounts or generate accounts. That is what we consider a system admin. If you have in IEP the supervisor label, regardless of if it's IEP or RTI or whatever. I don't have absence management. Well, Mike, that's okay. You don't need absence management. User access page will display whatever accounts you have. To designate system admins, Tracy, they already are, realistically. They're the people that actually have the supervisor rights in it. My question is always this. I start out, who do I contact? If I'm having problems in IEP Direct, who to contact? That's my starting point. Do I contact the Rick or do I contact Sally? Okay, we'll start with Sally. Sally, are you the system admin? Well, I am. Okay, well then she's the system admin. Or she says, well, you know what, I answer the questions, and then if there's a question I can't answer, I bubble that up to the Rick, because the Rick really controls it. So then it would be the Rick that controls IEP Direct. Specific files. Yeah, you can, Carolyn, the thing is you can manage the files as long as you have system admin rights to them. So, for example, my example, Clean Crilly, at that point, if the misspelled Crilly is an application I don't control, okay, I can't go in there and control it, but I can merge them. Merge the accounts together. That way we can kind of get around it, and then me, really, I can have access to that other account, and then the system admin for, let's just say it's IEP Direct, that system admin for IEP Direct can then correct my last name. Do you offer MFA for admins in this? I'm not quite sure what that terminology means, MFA. So no, Can. Good question. I see IEP Interact as individual accounts. I just don't have 504. I did have 504 in here. So again, if I go here, the system, if I have 504. Now, if you definitely have 504 and you're not seeing it, then you just let me know, and then what we can do is we can refresh the database. But example, I don't know if I can't remember. I might have had 504. Yeah, I did. Oh, I didn't have 504. For IEP Direct, basically it's special ed and interventions. IEP Direct is a module, and that typically is the master module. You have IEP Direct, and then you could have other second modules with it, like 504, Medicaid. REI. So those modules the district would purchase, but the biggest module is IEP Direct. That's why everybody calls it IEP Direct. And then there's other modules, 504, and they kind of are the little brothers, of that particular module. We're seeing a different user management dashboard from within IEP Direct. Scott, contact support about that. I'm not quite sure. And when you contact support, IEP Direct support, send them a screenshot. That way they can see it. Are emails and names case sensitive? That's a great question. No, they are not. A character is a character is a character. It doesn't matter if it's a capital C or a lowercase c, it's a C. And that's really what we're matching on, is the letter itself, regardless of is it an uppercase or lowercase. Is there any way to create sub-admin accounts with the ability to only grant access to a single application, i.e. grant access to IEP Direct but not professional or development? Absolutely. So basically what we're doing here is you would actually create that admin account in the application that you want, if I'm following your question. So if I only want to grant access in IEP Direct, what I would create myself in IEP Direct, and then one of the system settings would be for IEP Direct Supervisor. But I would have, you can create me in Professional Growth, nor would create me. Now I could as an end user, but I wouldn't be created as a system user in Professional Growth based on your question. Do you have to create the user in each application? Yes, it's a great question. Unfortunately, today, yes. Okay, so creating a user doesn't change much. It is you create the user in the appropriate number of applications they should belong in. That's why we kind of have to coordinate the flow of vision. Approved goes down to the district. IT department, create my district-specific email address, and then you send that out. Now, eventually, we're going to get to where you go to one spot, create the person, and then boop, 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 you add them to all the appropriate accounts, application accounts, but we're not there yet. That's a great question. That's our goal. As admin for IEP Direct, can I create a new user, or does your office have to create an email first? At this point, if you're you can always create an account okay? The email address is not required. So it's not going to bark at you, hey, I need an email address, okay? Just because the system prior didn't. However, is a new user you create after you go live. You can create the person. However, you're never going to be able to get them to log in because no email address. So basically, again, however you want to do that, just keep in your mind that if you create the user before you get that email address, you're kind of just in, a holding pattern, if you will, until you get an email address. Because once you get the email address, then you can send out that invitation. Okay, this was changed once upgraded. Scott, I don't know. It sounds like look at your other ones. We're seeing different user management. Maybe the IEP Direct dashboard question, I think. Yeah, the IEP dashboard will change a little bit. Professional growth dashboard will change a little bit to upgrade. Carolyn, passwords. Can you repeat a password? Yes. I believe you can, yes. There's no password. Oh, yeah, because, you used it in the last 15 times. No, there's nothing like that. Nor is there, hey, your password's going to expire in 30, 60, 90 days, okay? We don't do that anymore. The rationale is because there's been studies made by Microsoft and other independent agencies, security agencies out there that says, you know what, it's statistical data over all of the time that they've done passwords, changing it every three months, to not changing it, there's really no statistical advantage over changing it every 3 months to not changing it. You just kind of frustrate the end user with having to pick another pass. So we don't do that. Sub upgrades via another neighboring school district before our upgrade. How will the process look for them on our upgrade date? Now, that's a great question. It all depends on the type of user. So if I'm a sub, and I upgrade with the other district, your neighboring district, well, guess what? Because I am using a multiple district sub account, and typically I am at that point, your account at your district will automatically be updated just for that one user, that one sub. So realistically, when you upgrade, that's normal because that sub, that multiple district sub, oh yeah, you do say sub here, I'm sorry. It's a normal day. So what happens when the first district of their string of districts that they belong in, once they upgrade, they're completely done. So if I'm in 10 districts, I update for District 1. Then for Districts 2 through 10, when it's upgrade, no actions required. To revoke access to this organization. If an admin from one system revokes access, will it impact all? Yes, it will, because it says revoke. You're absolutely right. Shelley, that's a great question. Unfortunately, it's one of those things where it would impact everybody. So, again, I can go here. If I go, there's no account. Sorry about that. I have an account. I have an account here. If I have an account here, and then notice all my accounts here, if I go revoke, it revokes it for all of them. So if I'm saying, listen, and this is where the coordination comes in. Like, if truly I just want to inactivate his frontline, frontline central activity, basically I would go into edit user access for him, and I would, if I clicked on that, and I would just, I inactivate it, as opposed to revoking it, which would actually sever this relationship, his frontline relationship with all the underlying accounts. When new account invitations go out, okay. Now, Tammy, listen here. You're not sending invitations out. On December 10th, all of your users will log in like normal, like they have December 10th, and they're just going to be prompted to upgrade. New account invitations for existing users will go out. Okay. The only invitations that we're going to send, well, if you create a new user on December 11th, send an invitation out for that one specific user. But the account invitations, we're not sending them out And the reason is because, again, then we have to work with your IT department because we're sending hundreds of invitations at one particular second, and your email servers will shut it down. So we don't send invitations to the mass upgrade. The masses, they'll naturally upgrade by using their current credentials to upgrade. Again, if you're new, it will upgrade. So let's do this. We got some great questions here. Let's continue back on the slide deck here. I just asked, and we walk through some of those other issues. So the Frontline ID URL, this single URL. Okay, so we'll click on that, type credentials, and select an application. The mobile app, okay, access this mobile app, again, Frontline, Absence Management, and My Learning Plan. The code 7354. Again, you've got to create your Frontline ID first. Post-launch troubleshooting questions. Let's get that. Finish the Q&A session that we have here. So the post-launch, and again, you're going to get the slide deck. So I'm sending the slide deck out. The question: I cannot remember my old username or password. Again, go to the Manage Your Access page, find the user, and click Send the Account Invitation. When you click it, you'll have to send it, verify it, and then you'll actually send it. I cannot remember my username. Again, go to the user and Manage User Access, find the employee, and hover over Has Account, and right there is their username. I cannot remember my Frontline ID password. Okay, now notice I can only see username and email for security purposes. So basically, I'm going to find the user, I'm going to send the reset password, it's going to go out, and then I'm going to tell Bob, the employee, it's going to email@email.com. Someone leaves the district, what should you do? Now, again, this is when, if they leave, you get the access. You're going to find the user, let's say it was Corey, and you're going to revoke the access. Again, it's going to confirm, are you sure? Because revoking is pretty powerful. And then you say, yes, I confirm. What code for the mobile app? A lot of people ask that, 7354. That is good for everybody. Again, 7354, and then you need your Frontline ID. So update to the Frontline ID first, and then you can download the mobile app for absence management and professional growth. Now, here's the thing. If now your substitutes will continue to go to the Jobulator app. Okay, actually, we're going to pull them over, but subs will go to the Jobulator app. Now, the mobile app support, okay, and just support. So if Sally's having a problem with her mobile app, you can get Sally email right under this email, and it is for end user support. Okay, so they can send that. They'll send the question to our support team, and they'll be able to answer her. It says questions, so we'll skip that. Now, here's the biggest thing. If I need assistance, I meaning you. If you need assistance, who do I contact? If it's for general user access issues, oh my gosh, I need to get Bob on the system like immediately. Okay, Bob, the superintendent, I got to get him on, so I got to get him connected and stuff. Who do you contact? Any of our support teams. So you can, whoever. Free support team trained to support and access issues. Now, if it's specific, if it's, hey, I need to create a form, okay, or I've got some type of configuration settings to redo within an application, you want to contact the specific application support team, and here's their email address for all of them, okay? Note, this support is for system admins only. Okay, please do not give out our absence management. So basically, if you're in absence management or professional growth or whatever, you're the liaison. So they come to you first, you answer the question. If it's, that's a little too support issue, basically you will reach out to us, we'll give you the answer, you will then give it back to the substitute. It makes you look like you're the hero of the day. But again, we just don't have the support team to be able to support 10 million users on the system. We have enough to support you as a system admin, but not individual users. And again, there's that mobile app as well. Going over a visual, so this kind of helps. You know, the user existed before the launch, the user existed after. And again, I kept on saying, when was the user created? So if the user was created before the launch, basically you're going to use your existing credentials. Notice no invitation sent. You can initially start with the credentials. You enter your credentials correctly, you remember them, then you success creating your Frontline ID. Now, your existing credentials, or you can't remember, oh my gosh, I don't remember what they were, that is when you only send the invitation. Okay? The invitation for users who existed before the launch is only sent an issue. Someone can log in. Now, after the launch, you've created that user, those brand new users who are created after launch will get is through an invitation. That is why it is so vitally important to have an email address, because this is the only way to get an invitation, is an email. This way, I can circumvent the email. Circumvent the email as long as I know my ID and password. But again, if I don't, then I need my email. We'll skip that. And here we'll go to other questions. So I totally forgot about that. Just so sometimes it helps going through that. I just want to get through that. Okay, let's go back to the questions. Donna, we have been migrated to Insights. What is the new URL login? Okay, so Donna, again, that's where, had I gone through this properly, in proper sequence, you would have seen that. It's, right, it's app. You go in here. There into the chat room. There, that they want. Now again, that new URL is only for Frontline IDs. Okay, your old URLs, those still continue to work. So ASAP Online, My Learning Plan, IEPdirect.com, all of them will still continue to work, even with the old and with the new Frontline ID. But again, this app.Frontline Education will only work with the Frontline ID. So if someone's saying, hey, I'm clicking on the link, I'm trying to upgrade, it's giving me an error problem, you need to go to asaponline.com or mylearningplan.com to begin the process. Can the district edit the invitation letter? The one that we send out, invitation letter, no. You can remember that welcome letter. The welcome letter, that's really only applicable for your absence management. For that, yes, you can. But for the one that we send out, it just says, hey, you know what, such a person, this district is giving you access to, and then it will list out all the applications that you're giving them access to when you send the invitation. So I've downloaded the app, but it tells me that my login is incorrect. Do you know why? You have to be upgraded. If you're not upgraded, that's why. Because you need a Frontline ID. How do you add someone? So you add people by the actual application. Okay. At this point, you'd actually go into absence management if you're in absence management, and you would add basically worksheets the employee you would add. If you need more information, please reach the support team for that application that you're in. How are system admin permissions established? Is there a process for confirming access is set up properly? That's a great question. Here's what happens. When you initially purchase a product from Frontline, we will establish the first system admin 1. Okay, and that could be Julie, and she bought when you bought the program 5 years ago. Okay, so that's what Frontline will do. We'll set up Julie just to start the ball rolling. But after that point, it is up to Julie to remember to set the new system admins or to expand it. So the logins and stuff like that, what you really need to do is, if you're the system admin, you really need to look through those permissions. Now, if you need help as to, okay, how can I identify them, there's different ways in different applications to identify them. Reach out to the support team and, hey, how can I identify super users in IEP Direct? Because, that's kind of, I thought into IEP Direct. Now, again, I'm upgraded. But in IEP Direct, if I can for advisor right here. This is where I could go in IEP Direct. In ASAP, it would be organization users. And then My Learning Plan, I'm not quite sure how there's a certain way to do it. I'm not an expert there for My Learning Plan, but that's how we do it for individual applications. It appears that all the corrections have been taken care of in Absence Management. What is the purpose of the super user? What is the purpose of the super user? Well, Lynn, for you, it might not be. So if you only have Absence Management, the super user really is a user that has access system admin across multiple applications, not just one. So for you, in your case, maybe you don't need a super user, meaning because you only have one application, and that's perfectly fine. Kathy, we're trying to send out those data files to you as soon as we can. So thank you for your patience. If users have self-serve correct, their information will not match their WinCap profile, okay? New employees are entered in the WinCap, and at the end of the day, they are uploaded. Okay, that process will still work. So WinCap will put the information into the system, so you still have your system. However, the Frontline ID has nothing to do with WinCap. Remember, the Frontline ID is a completely different entity. It's a completely different planet, if you will, than the information that you're getting from WinCap and putting into Absence Management. The Frontline ID, okay, does not override any information in any of the underlying applications. Again, you know, if WinCap puts information in there and gives me my district email address, that's great. But my Frontline ID, when I create that, I could use a personal email address because, again, I'm not always going to work for that district maybe or your district. So if I use that personal email address, we just record it, but we don't take the personal email address and then override the My Learning Plan or the ASOP absence account information. Do we still have to add accounts to Absence Management the same way and then give them access after? Yes. So, Lynn, the process stays the same when you're creating users and granting accesses. When you change it to the personal profile and professional growth, does it also distribute the change in the other applications? That's a great question. No. Right now, when you make a change, it's silos. Remember silos. So if I have a personal growth or My Learning Plan silo, I have an absence silo, I have silo, okay? Now, only for login purposes are we trying to combine them, but they're still distinct individual silos. So if I need to change my name, my last name, Maid to Married, let's say, across the applications, I'm going to have to go into each of those applications and make those changes because, again, they're still separate silos at this point. Are we going to, hey, I change it once, propagate or push down to all the applications? Absolutely. We're going there. We're just not there yet. Multi-factor authentications. Okay. I am not an expert there, so I would reach out to the support team about that. That's a great question. Do you have sources we can use to communicate staff responsibilities? Well, course number 1 in that notification packet, we just have a one-pager that you send out to all of your staff, with district staff, substitutes, and any external users like IEP Direct users. You would just send that information out to them, and it's a one-pager, and that tells them how to use your existing credentials, upgrade to the Frontline ID. Will the migration affect how and what the website? Okay, that's a great. WebReg is a completely different ballgame, okay? Because what happens, WebReg is typically outside of the normal flux. So you might have Absence Management, have My Learning Plan IEP, okay? And then you may have a WebReg instance. You know, typically that's the BOCES. School districts have WebReg accounts, but mostly that's a BOCES. So the WebReg, how does that work? Really, there's 2 type of users within Reg, and what you have to ask yourself: who created the account? That's the question you got to ask. In WebReg, who created the account? If the district or the BOCES created the account, you are eligible for the upgrade. Individual user created the account, they're packed. So if let's say WebReg, if the district created me as a district admin and or an instructor, I want to upgrade. Okay. Now, if I am I'm just Joe Smo out here living in the area, I look at the BOCES. I'm like, oh man, that's great. I would love to sign up for some of those courses. Oh yeah, I got to create myself as a registrant. Okay, that's great. And now I can look at your course catalog, and that individual person, no upgrade, because you don't control them. Okay, the external users, you don't control them. It could be anybody, that's aware that you have a WebReg account. So I don't control that. That individual user creates themselves in the system. However, internal people, I control. I control who the district admins are in WebReg. I control who the instructors will be within WebReg. So, great question. Now, I will say this: if there's a WebReg instance, okay, and you have your normal districts, in that case, you will have the multi-sister. Because you'll be able to say, hey, Acme School District, that's me, and then whatever WebReg account. So you're able to what we call OR switch, okay? And that for you, would be for those users. Again, if my normal accounts, it's this organization, WebReg, because I'm an instructor or I'm a district admin, it'll say it down here, WebReg. So that's a great question about WebReg. Live date, will the system send out email invites to all you? No. We do not send any communication out. We rely on the notification letter that we give to you to send out to everybody, and then once it's upgraded, the system's upgraded, you'll know, because the next time you log in, you'll be prompted to upgrade. Will we have to send out? Again, you don't want to send out invitations. You don't want to send invitations out to pre-existing users, okay? The only time you want to send invitations out to pre-existing users if they're having problems upgrading, okay? I forgot my password, something like that. They're having an issue. You can send out an invitation to pre-existing users if they're having a problem. Remember our slide deck there? Looking at the slide deck that we have here, only send the invitation for pre-existing. Only send it if they're having a problem with their existing credentials. However, if they're brand new, created after the launch, the only way to do that is to send invitations. Why in the data file several rows are hidden? Why in the data file several rows are hidden? James, I'm not quite several rows are hidden. I know. We don't hide any rows in the data file. I don't know. Did you get that from somebody? Maybe they did it. I don't know. Will we see all users in all applications, even if we don't have access to? Yes. So basically, when you're looking at the Manage User Access page, it is when you're looking at this, it is View All. As a system admin, I see everything. Okay. However, that doesn't mean I have the keys to all the kingdoms. I might be able to see everything, but I only have the keys to the organizations that I control. Okay. So I can see everything, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I can change everything. Good question. Is an email address we can contact for additional assistance? Okay. So it all depends on what you need. If you need to change your underlying data, you can out to our teams. Yeah. Now again, here I am. I will do this. I get about frontline I get a lot of emails, probably almost 200 a day, so I try to go through them. I really do. But if there's immediate, you need something with the data file, you need to change some data, our support team can help you as well. Our support team can. Is there an access code for Jobulator? No, there is not. Now, Jamie, just know the Jobulator app is a fee-based app. It's a subscription, so I pay, I think it's $50 or something like that for an entire year. And by year, I mean 365 days. Okay, not a school. So now the Frontline Ed app that we're talking about here for the is free. Okay, so eventually we'll move the subs over, but right now we have it. As existing employees using personal email, could we change it to the district email address before migration? Absolutely. You can definitely do that. And you can change that information. Now, again, you have to do that. Now, if you're savvy enough in absence management, and that's the only application we have, absence management allows you to import data. So you can pull the data out via report writer, manipulate the data, and then import the data back. Unfortunately, none of our other applications allow the end user to do that. Okay, we'd have to go through development to do that. So, but you can definitely do that. If you want to upgrade the personal email addresses to the district email addresses, absolutely. I think that's a great way to go. We have IEP and absence management. Do we need a super admin, or is everything able to be taken care of through absence management? You would definitely need. Well, here's the thing: the super admin really means I have admin rights for both IEP and absence management. Okay, it's easy to have a super admin because why? If I need to do a change in IEP, I don't have to contact Sally. Okay, I just do it myself because I'm a super admin. But I don't have super admin right. I don't have the system admins in both. Well, guess what? When I need to change an IP, God, I got to call Sally, and I got to wait for Sally to get it done. So what I would suggest is at least by the minimum to clean up your data, have a super admin, a person again that spans all those applications. Now again, it all depends on your BOCES because maybe you have a BOCES that controls it. And, they control it. So if they control it, then unfortunately you can't have super admin rights for that absence and management, but you could for the other ones. Good question. So first you add someone in the application. Yep. Then they will appear on the managed user absence. Yes. And as they are added to different applications, I will see their access change. For example, I can manage ASIM professional growth, but not IEP direct. So if I put a person in absence, and learning plan, I will not be able to do anything in IEP direct like send. That's a great question. Okay, so what you're talking about is a staged approach. Okay, so let's look at that staged approach, shall we? So let's say Monday you put me in management, and then Wednesday you put me in what other one? Professional growth, and then Friday you put me in IEP direct. Okay, so you stagger me. Now you can send an invitation at any time. Okay, so if you create me in absence management on Monday and you send the account, but let's just say I don't get to it till Wednesday. Well, you've then also created me in my learning plan. Now, my account will say it's pending. So you don't need to send the account invitation once, okay, because you already sent it on Monday. So you add me in my learning plan on Wednesday, okay? Back to the email, I'm like, oh, okay. Now, technically, the email was sent on Monday, so it's saying, hey, I'm granting you access to absence management. But technically, underlying is now professional growth. So when I create my Frontline ID, guess what? Magically, I already knew I'm getting absence management on Monday. But magically now, I'm getting my learning plan. And then, okay, that's great. So I have anything, and now I have account. It says has account. And then all of a sudden, Friday, someone creates me an IEP direct. Now, once I log in on Friday after I've been created, guess what? Now I have 3 of the applications to choose from. So you only need to see invitation once. As long as you match my last name and email address to all the subsequent application records, guess what? I only need that one account. That one account invitation will basically daisy chain the other applications. So when I create that Frontline ID, everything will be merged together. So again, you could send it at the beginning, you could send it in the middle, or you could send it at the very end. It is completely up to you. It all depends. When do you want my access? Immediately? Then send it at the beginning of the week. If you're like, nah, you know what, let's just wait until everything's done, then whoever creates me last, being IP direct, they would send it. That's a great question. I'm watching those out of order, unfortunately. Oh, Mike, that's okay. Can you send me the email with the recorded course 1? Mike, if you're still here, can you just send me an email? Send me an email. I did put my email address out there. Do not want to launch the app yet. Starting one thing at a time. Is there a message the users get, etc.? Will they know about it? Will we try? So basically, what's happening here is you'll get a letter. Do that. Now, if you have absence management, you can also go in there and create a web alert that says, hey, you know what, we're going to launch at such and such a date, just to get them prepared. So, again, depending on, I'd say 90% of all districts, just so you know, December 10th. And they have, some issues. Let's say you got attacked or hacked with malware, then we're making exceptions there. But the majority of people are going to go live by December 10th. You can choose an earlier date, but it's by December 10th. If we send an invitation, if a person does not put the username incorrectly, what URL does it come to? If the username does not, do you mean username or email address? We need to warn our users, since they are very active in not clicking on unfamiliar email address. Can also go in and say, oh, it's Clutter as well. So basically, what you'll do is let me do this. One sec. Let me pull up. Invitation. Okay, 1 second, trying to find email invite. Sorry, I'm trying to find old email invites. I can't find any. It will come from Frontline, so it's going to actually come from Frontline. The email will come from Frontline. So, yeah, that's a great thing, that you don't want people just haphazardly clicking on information. So it is actually going to come from Frontline. Unfortunately, I don't have invite to show you. An email, and I can send you out a copy of that. And just that I don't have an invitation, then I can send out. I do it for that. I'm trying to look, because I would like to get one. I can't any right now, but yeah, send me an email. That would be great. When a user changes their email address, how do we know that occurred? Okay, so Veronica, here's the thing. If they change their email address on their Frontline ID, it doesn't impact you. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't impact or change any of the underlying accounts that you have. So if you change their email address, you wouldn't know. So I would just tell, especially for subs, this has to be like a sub, because your employees wouldn't be able to change their email address unless the system did. I'm saying for the underlying accounts. I would just ask, all users, hey, if you're going to change your email address, let us know. That way we have it updated in our system. When we get to this, to be sent out by Monday session. Yeah, Terry, everybody should have received already the recording of session 1, and you should have received documentation, all the documentation. If you didn't, then blocked somewhere. So let me know. Again, if you didn't receive any of the information, and you're like, oh, well, I got the video, but I didn't get the because it's two separate emails. The video is separate than the slide deck and the zip file, and it might be because it's a zip file. district might shut that down because, oh, it's a zip file, it could be dangerous, and they shut that down. So let me know. Any questions regarding upgrade? Do we have any questions? Okay, I don't see any. So thank you very much. I know it's a long session here. I know some people had to jump, and okay, I'm going to send the recording, and I will also follow up. It will be sent out via email. Now, basically, when you sign up for Course 2, we take whoever signed up, and then we send that information out to them. So much for today. I hope you answered your questions. If you have other questions, just send me an email. Again, I will get to them as soon as I can. So thank you again. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, Care. Bye-bye.